everyone. Welcome to Ascari at Home. My name is John Sinopoli. I'm the executive chef and co-owner of the Ascari Hospitality Group. Welcome to our latest collaboration wine dinner. Today we are partnering with Rogers & Co. Wine Merchants. Gardelès Brasserie is featuring the food here. We are so excited to bring to you today the iconic wines of Frog's Leap Vineyard in Napa Valley. John Williams, the winemaker, is a leader in sustainability and organic winemaking. Today we're featuring their 2018 Shale and Stone Chardonnay, as well as the 2017 Estate Grown Cabernet Sauvignon from Rutherford. These are two incredible wines, rich, complex, long-lasting in your mouth. We've paired some really incredible food to go with it today. We're gonna get in the kitchen now, show you everything that you've got in your box, and we're gonna tell you how to put it all together. Let's get started. So here we are in the kitchen. We've got all of our ingredients on the table. I'm gonna bring you through one by one so you know what everything is and what we're gonna use it for. First off, we have our appetizer. It is a beautiful Milford Reef sheep's milk cheese salad. The Milford Reef cheese comes from Lighthall Vineyards in Prince Edward County. It's a gorgeous fresh cheese uniquely made for Gardelès Brasserie. It's gonna be garnished today with some beautiful pea tendrils, some pickled shimeji mushrooms, some fresh shucked peas, a little bit of toasted hazelnuts, and we're gonna make a vinaigrette with the pickling liquid from the mushrooms and this olive oil we provided. Next, we have our steak dinner. This is the Steakhouse Classic. We have our two beautifully sous vide, perfectly cooked strip loins for you. We're just gonna sear those and get them hot. We have our potato gratin, gorgeous Parker House rolls, roasted mushrooms with sherry cream sauce. We provided olive oil, salt, pepper, parsley, all the things you need, some butter, fresh herbs for basting. Next is asparagus with lemon vinaigrette and cured egg yolk. That is your meat lover's main course, basically. That's the Steakhouse Classic. If you chose the vegetarian option today, instead of the steak, we have these gorgeous Savoy cabbage rolls with legumes and grains, cherry tomatoes. It's beautiful inside, really flavorful. And for dessert, last but not least, of course, we have our pastry chef, Ashley Stock's creation. Her ode to the steakhouse is a New York style cheesecake with toasted meringue and passion fruit puree. So now let's get started. I'm gonna show you how to put everything together. Welcome to the kitchen. We're gonna prepare your first course of the evening. It is the Milford Reef sheep's milk cheese from Lighthall Vineyards in Prince Edward County. It's a composed salad we put together. We've pickled some shimeji mushrooms. We're gonna use this pickling liquid as part of our dressing. So the first thing we're gonna do is open up our mushrooms, and we're gonna drain the liquid into the bowl, but not necessarily the mushrooms. A couple get in there, it's fine, not the end of the world. It's great. Okay, and then we're gonna add about, I don't know, half of this olive oil in, not so much, yep. We're gonna add a little bit of the Maldon salt we provided in here as well. And we're gonna dress our salad in here. So you can mix it up. I'm just gonna use a spoon here. You can use a whisk if you want. You're just really mixing it. It's not an emulsified vinaigrette. We're just gonna mix it up so the seasoning's good. We're gonna set that to the side. We're gonna get our bowls ready for plating. Okay, and we're gonna place our cheese in the middle. So we're gonna open up our cheese. This should be room temperature if possible. Hopefully you've removed it from the fridge about 30, 40 minutes before you intend to eat it. It is a beautiful ripe cheese, so at room temperature it's gonna eat a lot better. Okay, great. And you wanna cut it in half horizontally. So you wanna create two discs basically. So we're gonna go halfway up. I'm gonna cut across. I'm gonna open it up. Beautiful, look at that. Gooey, gorgeous, perfectly ripe. We're gonna place this in the middle of each plate, just comme ça. And then we're going to take our pea tendrils, we've placed in a bag for you, and our fresh peas that we've blanched already cooked. And we're gonna give this a mix and just get this nicely, lightly dressed. So the pickling liquid has vinegar and sugar and salt in there. And so it's really nicely balanced already. And then we're gonna assemble this around our cheese in a nest, okay? So you'll start with the pea tendrils. You can use a pair of tongs. I'm just gonna use my hands. It's the easiest way to get it perfect, is to use your hands. Oh, I probably put a little bit too much on my first plate here. I'm gonna divide it equally in half. So this is a fresh. The pea tendrils are super sweet. The pickled shimejis are earthy but bright because of the vinegar. Okay, then I'm just gonna use a spoon to spoon these peas and a little bit of the dressing around. Wonderful. I mean, it's so fresh and bright, the salad, and the cheese is really, really delicious. One of the best cheeses we have at Garde l'Est. Okay, and then we're gonna take our shimeji mushrooms and we're gonna arrange these also around the plate. Again, I like to use my hands. It's totally fine. These are very easy to handle. When we pickle shimeji mushrooms, we tend to blanch them very quickly before putting them in the pickling liquid, just to get that kind of forest floor flavor out. Wonderful, look at that, gorgeous. The last thing we're gonna do is, second to the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna garnish around the salad with a little bit of the toasted hazelnuts. Beautiful. We're gonna season the cheese with a touch of Maldon salt, and we're done. And there you have it, your 2 Milford Reef sheep's milk cheese salads with pea tendrils and fresh peas. We have toasted hazelnuts and pickled shimeji mushrooms. Enjoy. It's time to prepare our main course. So a few things before we get started. You need to have your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You need a medium pot of water at a simmer if you're cooking the vegetarian option. If you're cooking the meat option, the steak, you should have a cast iron pan or a pan that's good for searing, your favorite thing to cook meat in, something that can get really hot and is gonna hold up to the heat in case you need to put it in the oven. We have a shallow frying pan here with just a 1/4 inch of water in it, bringing to a simmer. And then a small to medium fry pan for the mushrooms. That's just gonna pop in and go right in the oven. So everything should kind of be oven proof if possible. Vegetarians need a medium simmering pot of water, and meat people need a cast iron pan here ready to sear steak. I've got my cast iron pan getting hot so that it's ready to go to sear my steaks. But the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pop our potato gratin in the oven. I've removed the plastic lid. And on the same tray, I've put our Parker House rolls. The potato gratin is gonna go in the oven for about 20 minutes. The Parker House rolls just a few minutes to get them warm through the middle and get them soft and delicious again, okay? So those are gonna go in now, right in my oven. And then if you have the vegetarian course, now is the time to put our 2 Savoy cabbage packages right in the bag. Don't open the bag, right into our simmering water. Those are gonna take about 15 to 18 minutes to get hot, okay? Maybe 20, depending on your pot and how fast you have a simmer. Again, just a really, really slow simmer, not a rumbling boil. Okay, next we're gonna get our mushrooms in the oven. So we're gonna take our package of mushrooms and a pair of scissors, and I'm gonna empty it right into a small to medium fry pan. These have already been roasted, seasoned, and all we're really doing is getting them hot again, okay? So I'm gonna put them in my 350 degree oven. You see that? Just also they're flat, so they're all flat on the pan. And the sherry cream sauce that we have is gonna be put on top of them later. Super easy. Now it's time to sear the steak. So we're gonna open up our steak and we're gonna drain the liquid that's inside. We've cooked these already sous vide, which means under vacuum, to a perfect medium rare. So it's not a raw steak. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of all this liquid, it's all garbage. We're gonna remove the herbs that we've cooked it with. We're gonna put those in the garbage. Those have served their purpose. So I'm gonna take the salt we provided, put it in a little smaller bowl so it's easier for me to grab, and I'm gonna season each side very generously. You see how high up I'm holding my hands when I season the meat? I want a nice, even, generous coating. Now, don't think all this salt's gonna make it to the plate. It won't, because a lot of this just falls off in the pan, especially because we're butter basting. But notice how I'm seasoning every side, okay? So that's the salt, and then we have our pepper, fresh cracked black pepper that we provided for you. Again, all 6 sides, salt and pepper. Very generous, because a lot of this seasoning is gonna end up in the pan, not all of it on your plate on your steak. And you want it to taste good. Bottom line is, most people like restaurant food because it's properly seasoned. So our steaks are here, our pan is hot. I'm gonna add the canola oil to the pan, I put all of it. I like to be really generous. I'm gonna turn my heat up a little bit. And I'm gonna use my tongs to place my steak in the pan so I don't splatter and burn my hands, okay? And you should have a nice, beautiful sizzle sound. That's the sound you want when you're searing steaks. So, like I said, these steaks are medium rare already. They're cooked sous vide. So all we're doing is getting a sear on them and getting them warm through the middle. I think once I sear all 4 sides, this steak is gonna be ready to take out. I'm gonna baste it with butter and herbs. If you like your steak a little bit more cooked than medium rare, no problem. Once you get your sear on all the sides, just pick up your pan and pop it in the oven. While I have that down, I think it's time to take our Parker House rolls out of the oven. They're nice and warm and toasty. Take them off the tray, and I'm gonna put them on a plate ready for some of the beautiful butter we provided to you. Okay, our steaks are searing nicely. You can hear that. That's the sound, that's the action you want. And once I think I've got enough color on one side, I'm just gonna flip it over. There we go. You want a nice golden brown on each side. Okay, so I got 2 sides now. While we're doing that, I'm gonna take off the dirty paper that I used to season. I'm gonna replace it with a clean, fresh piece of paper towel so that when my steaks come out of the pan, we have a place to rest and they have a place to drain while we plate the rest of the food, okay? So even though these steaks are cooked sous vide, after they sear, they're still gonna need a minute or 2 to rest. Probably not as long as a rest as if you cooked it from raw, but they still need a little bit of a rest. Okay, so we've got our steak seared on, I think, 4 of our 6 sides. We're almost there. Your pan should be piping hot. Like you want this pan to be screaming. You want the oil to be popping, and you should have your fan on, your windows open. Don't light your smoke alarms, but this is the best way to cook steak in my opinion. I prefer it over the grill. For me, nothing beats a cast iron sear on a beautiful piece of beef. Nothing at all. So now, once we've got our sear going here, we're gonna get our our asparagus in the water. So you see I have this shallow pan here. I've got about a 1/4 inch of water in there. And I like to rewarm my asparagus like this. These asparagus are already blanched. They're perfectly cooked for you. We're just getting them warm because I want to really just get them in and I want to get them out. And the easiest way to get a vegetable in and out is to have it in a nice flat pan with just simmering water. All we're doing is getting some heat into them. We're not cooking them. So I'm gonna drop them in carefully. And I'm gonna use my trusty perforated lifter to make sure they're in the water. I'm gonna give my steaks a turn. One of the last sides here. Look at that beautiful, gorgeous sear. Amazing. And the smell is amazing. Like the smell of searing beef is perfect. The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take our asparagus out because they really only take a few minutes to warm through. Like a few minutes, not even, like 1 or 2 minutes. You don't wanna overcook them. So now that they're hot, I'm gonna remove them from the water, put them on my plate. Make sure you drain them well. And we're gonna garnish those in a second once our steaks are out of the pan. You don't have to do this at the same time like I'm doing it. You can do it one at a time if you want. You can sear your steaks, take them out to rest, and then do your asparagus on their own. Don't forget your mushrooms are getting hot in the oven. Grab this last one with a pair of tongs here. I prefer not to use tongs on vegetables. I just feel that it really damages them. Okay, our steak is seared on all sides. I'm gonna turn the heat off. And I'm gonna put our butter in, which is melted a little bit. All the butter we provided. I'm gonna add the gorgeous fresh thyme and bay leaves. These are gonna pop. The moisture in there is gonna pop. I'm gonna take a big spoon. I'm gonna tilt my pan slightly towards me so the butter comes towards me, and I'm gonna baste. The flavor that this imparts on your steak is really, really important. Okay, I'm basted, and I'm gonna pull them out before they overcook. I'm gonna bring all these beautiful herbs, I'm gonna put them on top, and we're gonna just rest our steaks right there. They are seared, they are hot, and they're just gonna rest a little bit now. They're medium rare. Our asparagus is hot. It's time now to take our potato gratin out of the water and out of the oven, and take our mushrooms out of the oven too. So I'm gonna take our hot potato gratin out, and I'm gonna put it on our plate where we're gonna slice our steak. Oops. I'm gonna use something different here. It's really hot, I gotta be careful. There we go. Beautiful potato gratin. And I'm gonna grab our mushrooms now. Okay, great. Okay, move a couple of these things out of the way. A little bit of juggling here. Okay, now our mushrooms are hot. We're gonna pour as much of this beautiful sherry cream sauce over top as you like, and we're just gonna give them a little stir to coat them before we get them on the plate. The heat in the pan should melt your sauce nicely. I'm gonna turn this off. There we go. Sherry cream mushrooms. We're gonna put them in the bowl. Lost one, that's okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so now it's time to start garnishing. We've got lemon dressing, which I'm gonna drizzle over the asparagus. And we're gonna put a little bit of sliced cured egg yolk over that as well. Beautiful. So we have our cured egg yolk we provided to you. And we're going to give that a quick little slice and a chop. And I'm going to use a spoon to garnish the asparagus with. This is gonna add a little bit of richness, this cured egg yolk. It's gonna add like a beautiful kind of luxurious melty flavor. Wonderful. And now it's time to slice our steak. Now that our steak's rested a few minutes, it's time to slice it open. I like to always slice against the grain. It might be hard for you to tell where the grain is, but you can kind of look and see which way the grain goes if you look closely. I like to give about 3 or 4 slices per. Yeah, beautiful medium rare. Gorgeous. We're gonna open it up and show that beautiful color. Look at that. Put it on our cast iron pan. You know, you can plate it in your most beautiful plate at home. And then we're gonna garnish it with the ramp butter. We can't forget about the ramp butter. It's beautiful wild leeks that we forage from the forest outside of Creemore, Ontario ourselves. Beautifully cooked, perfect steak that's gonna go gorgeously with this Napa Valley Cabernet. And I'm gonna cut open my wild leek butter here. And I'm gonna put 1 disc on top of each steak. If you're not a fan of the flavor of wild leeks, whether it's too garlicky or oniony for you, you can not do this, but this is a gorgeous, like compound butter, perfect way to finish the meal right off the palate. Perfect, look at that. And then let's not forget about our vegetarian members of the party tonight. We're gonna take the package here of Savoy cabbage and legumes, and has amaranth and dried cherry tomatoes, just a delicious savory mix of ingredients. We're gonna take these out of the package. We're gonna unwrap them. They have a little bit of saran wrap on them that held them all together. They may be a little hot, but that's okay. You could also use your scissors to snip. I'm gonna do that. It's probably a little bit easier. Snip, 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 snip. Quick unwrap. Oof. Beautiful, hot, steamy, everything held together wonderfully. All the flavors are in there, contained, and we're gonna put that right beside our beautiful potato gratin. There you have it, all the things you need for a classic steakhouse dinner: roasted strip loin, Ontario beef, wild leek butter, potato gratin, Ontario asparagus, lemon vinaigrette, and cured egg yolk, roasted button mushrooms with sherry cream sauce, classic Parker House Rules, a beautiful cabbage packet of grains and legumes, and a potato gratin as well. That is the main course. I think it's enough food for everybody. I hope you brought your appetites. I think it's gonna go beautifully with the 2017 Rutherford Cabernet Sauvignon. Enjoy. And of course, the final course of the evening tonight is our New York style cheesecake with passion fruit puree and toasted meringue, presented to you by our pastry chef at Ascari Hospitality Group, Ashley Stock. So really all you need to do for this is to lift it out of the container and add the passion fruit puree. So if you have a little lifter like this at home, that's great. You can also use like a butter knife or a spatula. I'm just gonna get underneath it very carefully and lift it onto the plate. There we go. And do the next one. Slide it right under. Perfect. And then we're just gonna open up these ramekins here, and we're going to drizzle a little bit of this puree, dot it right on top in between the meringues. Each container is for each cheesecake, so you don't have to be cheap about it. And that should finish your meal nicely. Thank you again for joining us here at Ascari at Home. Thank you for bringing us into your kitchen. We can't wait to have you in our dining room sometime soon at the restaurants, Gardeles Brasserie, Ascari Enoteca, and Ascari on King. Enjoy the wines. Thanks again for the partnership, Frog's Leap and Rogers & Co. Can't wait to do it again. Everyone, have a lovely long weekend.